Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm just kidding, yo. It was pretty funny. I think I choked like 3 times trying to record that intro. Different kind of video today. I just wanted to hop on and just drop some value for you guys. I was talking to a 15-year-old earlier today, and we were kind of messaging back and forth, and he was like, dude, I just feel like I'm so behind. Like, I just feel like everybody else is so ahead of me, and yet I'm doing all this work and whatever. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, I was this kid once. For those of you who don't know, I started making content when I was 15 years old on this same channel. You can go back and watch all the videos when I was recording on my iPhone 8 and making some cringy freaking videos. But, I was basically this kid once, and I'll give credit where credit is due. And I told him this. I was like, dude, you're further ahead than me. Like, he has his first paying client already. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, like, firstly, you're right where you're supposed to be, right? But secondly, you're further ahead than I was. And, I just turned 18 a couple of weeks ago, and I'm making more money now than I ever have before. Last month I made about 3K. I'm on track to do like 3,500 this month or so. And I'm very blessed to be in this position, that I am in now. But, when I was his age, I wasn't really making any money. I had a minimum wage job, which I also was very blessed to be able to have. But I was, working that a couple hours a week and making a little bit of money with that. But what I did was I ended up, reinvesting a lot of that into, camera equipment and the business and everything like that. And so I told him, I was like, listen, you're not behind. You're right where you're supposed to be. You're doing really great stuff. But, at the same time, I kind of told him, I was like, listen, you are 15 and, you are young. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but this is the world of business, and age is something that people take into account. And unfortunately, if you are somebody who even is 16, 17, 18, even 20, you may have the unfortunate reality of looking like you are 12. Because of that, that can be a very, determining factor in business, unfortunately. But it's not the end all be all, right? It is not life or death. There are a lot of other things that go into it. And I told him, I was like, listen, you're 15. You look 15. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you are going to have to overcompensate in other things to make up for the fact that you lack in experience and you are so young. So you are going to have to show up and present yourself well. Many people who are 15 or 25 for that matter don't know how to do this. They don't know how to speak properly. They don't know how to dress properly. They don't know how to actually present themselves to the world in a professional manner. When it comes to dressing properly, this is not dressing properly. I'm recording a YouTube video. This doesn't really matter. But when you're on a sales call and you're 15 and you look 15, right, you can't be wearing a KSI shirt with freaking sweatpants on, right? When you go to a networking event, you can't show up in basic graphic t-shirt and a pair of whatever pants, I don't know, whatever. But like, you can't show up that way. I started off working a minimum wage job, and so what you need to do is you need to do the same thing. You need to just take that money, your first year, work a minimum wage job. It's gonna suck. It's not gonna be fun. You need to do it though. You need to make the 5, 6, 7 grand, whatever. Take that money, go out and buy $500 worth of clothes. Buy a couple, polo t-shirts. It doesn't need to be Loro Piana or anything like that. It just needs to be, some basic, polo t-shirts, button-down shirts, linen shirts, a couple pair of jeans. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. You need to look decent, right? Maybe at some point, when you're 24 and, you're at a point where you're the CEO of your, 7, 8-figure company, whatever, who cares at that point. But now you have to overcompensate on some of these things. The other thing which I'm so blessed for starting so early is YouTube, right? Because YouTube was a huge factor in me learning how to speak properly. Being able to articulate a message and convey that effectively to other people. There are so few people who are under the age of 25 who know how to do this properly. And I attribute a large part of this to YouTube because, when you get in front of a camera and you learn how to speak in front of a camera, that translates a lot into other things, especially sales calls over video and stuff like that. It's a huge thing. And so I highly recommend just recording yourself. Start putting content out there. I have content up there from 2, 3 years ago. And it's my philosophy. I like to have that stuff up there to be able to see the progression. But you don't have to, right? Like, you can delete that stuff in the future if you want to. But just get it out there and spend time, really trying to convey the message as clearly as possible and as most efficiently as possible. Because when you show up to a call or you show up to an event or whatever it is, and you're 16 or 17 or whatever, and you can speak clearly and you can articulate yourself better than 40-year-olds, trust me, that kind of stuff stands out. So it's something you really want to, you don't have to be perfect at it, but you want to get better at it. So start putting out content, start writing posts on LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. Just get better at it. The other large factor too is that compound interest doesn't just apply to traditional type investments. It applies to your own skill set and your business as well. And this is what I was telling this kid as well. I was like, listen, I said, I don't want to say you have time, but you also do, because compound interest applies, or the concept of it applies in that the more that you learn, the more that you will earn. I know Alex Hormozi talks a lot about that, and really expanding your skill set and learning more, educating yourself on actual skill sets, that are worth things that you can charge money for. And that is incredibly valuable. I highly recommend doing that. And the more time that you allow yourself to do that, the more that it's going to compound, right? Like, when I was 15 or 16, I wasn't even making, say $1,000 a month. I was making a couple $100 a month. But that's because I had no skills. Over time, the more skills that you learn and the more effort that you put in, that is going to compound. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week or a month. Like, I've been doing this for 3 years, and I'm just getting to the point now where I'm really starting to take off. So you need to expand your time horizon, right? You need to let the concept of compound interest apply to what you are doing, continuously being consistent with the things that matter, going to the gym, putting out content, getting better at speaking, doing, say, 5 DMs a day, because even though that may seem like nothing, that's 1,500 DMs a year. And I 100% promise you that if you send 1,500 DMs, you'll sign a client, as long as you're not sending crappy DMs. Just watch a YouTube tutorial or two. And the last thing that I really want to touch on in this video is the fact that you need to do more outreach, and not just in the concept of making sales and getting clients, but like, do more in the concept of reaching out to people, learning from them, just wanting to absorb knowledge as much as possible and make the connections, right? And reach out to them and say, listen, I love what you're doing, whatever. Do you want to, just maybe get on a quick 10-minute call? We could talk about, just whatever you're doing and what I'm doing and whatever. And just learn from them and make those connections. Because even though, they're not going to be a paying client of yours, knowing them is incredibly valuable. That's how I've met people that are doing, $10 million plus revenue, profit, doesn't really matter, both, per year. It's not because I meet them directly. It's because I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And then I meet them. I get to talk to them. I know people even, higher than them. So your network really is a very large part of your leverage at the end of the day. And even if you're 15, 16, 17, it's something you need to start expanding. I highly recommend Instagram, obviously, but LinkedIn is huge, right? That's a platform I've really started to expand on. And it's a place where I've met so many people that are making so much money. And I know I said that was the last thing, but this kind of ties into it, where I know that you want to hustle. I know that you want to make money. And, I was where you were at one point, or, you may even be ahead of me or whatever. But like, you can't lock yourself in a room and isolate yourself from the world, because you can't do this alone. There's only so far that you can go by yourself before you start to realize, okay, I need to incorporate other people into this. I need to learn from other people. I need to, like I just said, grow my network and really start to leverage that, because there's only so much that I can do by myself, because one person can only learn so much by themselves. They can only experience so many things, right? Like, when I first started, for the first 2 years of me doing content and everything, like, I did it all by myself. I taught myself everything I knew. I watched some YouTube tutorials, but that was it. And I just really took the hard route on this, and it was super difficult. I just struggled a lot because I didn't know, right? Like, I didn't have a mentor or anybody like that. In the last couple of months, in the last 6 months or so, I have started learning from a lot of other people, and that's why I've started making a lot more money. So stop thinking that you need to, sit down and monk mode in my room. Like, it works to an extent, yes, but in the long run, you can't just isolate yourself from the entire world. You need to start making actual connections, go out, be social, go to events, talk to people, do things, be a human being. Because there's a quote that I've heard a couple times now, and it's, if you want to go fast, you go alone. And if you want to go far, you go together, right? And so if you want to go fast and do it all yourself and, reach a little bit of a success all the time, like, sure, go it alone. But if you want to go further than anybody else out there, you need to go together with other people. You need to make connections and you need to learn from other people. So invest in that, right? Meet these people, spend time getting to know them, spend time providing value to them. If you have a service, provide it to them for free to learn from them. All of these things factor into it. I know this was a little bit of a different type of video. This was just a little bit of value I wanted to drop because talking with this 15-year-old really resonated with me. I felt like I was talking to a slightly different version of a younger version of myself, I guess, if that makes sense. So I will be getting back to, content strategies and everything soon. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing with GCR Media, there's going to be a link below. Even if you just want to, network and learn some more about what I'm doing, book a 30-minute call. It's free. We'd love to learn some more about you. So definitely check that out. And if I don't approve the call right away, just send me a DM on Instagram because, I don't know you, so I may not necessarily see it or approve it right away. Much appreciated, guys. If you like this video, just, comment it down below and I'll make more like it. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching as always. Peace.